Alberto. Hey, congratulations for your directing on an episode for season 3 of Upload.
Thank you, thank you.
So tell us how you were brought on board to this project and describe your episode.
Oh, so I was brought in as a fan. I was a fan of the show, and I always, told my reps that I really wanted to join this show. And it was one of those things that in Hollywood, the stars aligned, and you're like, ah, miracle happened. I got the opportunity to join the show, and I knew Jeff Blitz through the DGA. They do a program, and he was my mentor. And it was the perfect storm. And I had a short about the afterlife that Greg Daniels saw it, and he really liked it, and it was just magic happens. So I'm very thankful for that. And my episode, it's all about relationships. I think this episode is I loved it because it was more about the humanity between Ingrid, Nathan, and Nora, and how do they who they actually ended up loving with. So that was the exciting thing about this.
Now it's funny you mentioned Jeff Blitz. I think I saw it in the credits. He edited this episode for you, right? Or
No, Jeff is the producer. He's
oh,
the director, executive producer. Yeah.
okay. So that's how it all worked.
Yeah. He's one of the producers. Yes, yeah.
So what do you love about the series that made you a fan of Upload?
I used to be a computer science engineer before becoming a director. So I always been in love with technology, and I hadn't seen like a show that mixed technology, and I love comedy too, that mix technology and comedy and make a commentary of what it's about to happen maybe in the, whatever, 20 years. So I was always obsessed with how funny and intelligent it was treated, and then I think even if the technologies seem sometimes silly, but that's actually what's happening now. So for me, I just fell in love. And of course the characters, at the end of the day, everyone you tune in every week just to see the characters more than anything. And I thought the characters and the exploration of these characters in this particular world was genius, and I just loved it.
Yeah, and I found this episode to be a little bit more like you were saying, more relationship oriented, because it almost seems like it's a better understanding of everyone on who they actually love, and it's more serious tone than other episodes in Upload.
Yeah, I mean, it was all about relationships and exploring, like, what I also love about this episode was like we never seen kind of like a four-way relationship with the same person, right? Usually it's like, oh, they bring another character or they do something different. But in this, in this world, thanks to the world of Lord, you can actually have literally the same person. And then who do you rather be with, like the previous person who is like perfect steel, or someone who already have some sort of relationship with in the real world? And that was a very interesting thing that we got to explore here.
So because of the four-way relationship, you have Robbie playing two different characters,
Yeah.
obviously Nathan and the Nathan backup. Tell us the process of that, and how much direction you have to give to Robbie to play two different characters.
Robbie was I mean, by the time I got episode 6, he already kind of like knew the difference between the two Nathans. But it's really fun because like he was so good playing against himself. He had the perfect timing every time, and it was a joy to see him. I was like surprised because we had like some complex camera movements, and you get to do playback, to see how they're matching, and he was on point every single time, and he knew exactly how to do the jokes. And even he was like improvising the jokes, and he will remember he improvised that joke, and then when he was playing off himself, he would like again improvise that joke. It was like a true joy to see him. And then like he was bringing already, like they put him a little bit of a pouch, to be a little bit so small. It's hard to tell, but like I think that helps the actor walk in a different way and behave a different way. And it was so fun to watch him do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to admit this third season, especially the evil organization, and your episode, it was all about deception. It's almost like a spy versus spy type of episode. Could you tell us how you wanted to approach that? To reel us in, to watch sort of like this espionage episode, like for Upload.
It's I think that's also why I love about the show, right? Like every episode has like a little bit different genre, and I was like I did really approach it, like in a way it's like, oh, so like the parts where it's like they're trying to explore what's happening, or like a spy movie. It's like I think what makes it like still upload is the characters and the situation, but like I did approach like the zoom out when we reveal I don't know, hopefully I'm not spoiling anything too early. But like that reveal, I won't say what reveal. It was more like almost like a Hitchcocky. Like how do you do zoom outs, or how do you do all these techniques that feel, or like the interrogation room, like maybe I'm planning it, but like like the reflections. I don't know. I did play with that thematic of like how do you make this episode feel a little bit more like a thriller or like a espionage while keeping in the world, or the camera movement. Also, I use a lot of mirrors because like there's like two Nathans, and then so I try to like play with the mirrors because they're like two Nathans even in the set. Yeah.
Do you have you done a lot of this type of something similar to this for upload in terms of like you know spy or comedy?
I before directing that, I had done like a Disney movie that is coming out on Thanksgiving, and that one is like it's kind of like an Ocean's 11 for with kids. It's like these kids who don't get the presents that they think they deserve, and then they go to the North Pole, and it's very like spy and thrilly and a lot of VFX because they go to the North Pole and everything is like have these challenges. So it's a good thing to come to this episode after doing that, because I already like went through that on the VFX and getting very familiar with that. And I always love VFX, so it was really fun to bring that to this too.
I was going to say there is a lot of VFX in upload, especially in your episode, especially going through I want to say the memory lane per se. How was that experience for you, and do you find it challenging?
I don't actually don't find it challenging. I find it like exciting, I get very excited, and it's more about, especially like in TV on like movies, like you have very limited time, so you have to do a lot of like movie quality stuff in a short amount of time, and that was always a challenge. But the execution, I think, and everyone had a very good plan. It was more about like, oh, can we fit this in a TV time, and I think that's the beauty of upload. Every time, I don't know how they do it, but they're able to do it. Yeah.
Now I know you're a Mexican-based director from Mexico. Did you try to add something a little bit of Mexican touch into this uploads episode?
I think I usually say like Mexicans are really good at finding humor in tragedy. And then there's this scene where Ingrid has a discovery, right? And then we were trying to bridge how do you go from discovering this tragedy to being a comedy, because at the end of the day, it's very comedic. And I think it working with Allegra, which is a genius, she was like improvising. I think a little bit, I was able to understand how like to shift the tone without feeling too jarring, maybe, if you will, because yeah, Mexicans can laugh at funerals, and no one is like, oh my God, what's happening? It's just who we are. Yeah.
It's funny to me. It's because you said what your previous career was a software engineer.
Yeah, computer science engineer. Yeah.
And you allow your actors to improvise, because I find like software engineers like it's all very strict and coding.
That's funny. I can totally see that. Like, I think I do that with the camera. I think what I usually do is like, I think I'm very precise with the camera, but I let the actors, because at the end of the day, the technical is the camera and the actors is the heart. So I let the heart, show itself, while the technical stuff, I do find it more precise, but I love what the actors can bring. Yeah.
Do you find comedy come to you pretty easy, or do you find it challenging for you?
No, I love comedy. Yeah, I think, but I find it funny enough. I'm very introverted, and so people sometimes, I do a lot of big comedy and fun, and like sometimes I feel like people expect you to be like this comedic person when in life I'm like very introverted, a little shy. But I think that helps to bring the comedy, because I think I'm able to explore what I wish I was through comedy. So I think it comes out naturally, and then somehow like I've always been very successful making comedies. Before this, I used to do commercials around the world, and it was always like in Russian. I never spoke Russian, but people find it hilarious what I was doing, or Chinese in China, or it was very interesting comedy. Like somehow I find comedy in any culture, I guess. Yeah.
So as a former software engineer, is there anything from Upload that you wish that was real in our world?
That's a good question. You know, like I do find it beneficial, like, you know, answering the phones like this. There's something fun about that. Like I think, you know, because I always lose my phone and I don't know where my phone is and and I think I think it would be so fun just to be like la 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 la. And then especially like it would be maybe easier, right? Like the phone, you're like that and you have to hold it, but here like I do. When I saw it, I was like, that's good. The upload, like going to the afterlife, that scares me a little bit. So I don't know if I would love, but I think technology, it is going that way. I think I saw an article that could be possible to do, but like that one, it scares me. But the phone one, I would love to be able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of scary to basically download all your memories into a hard drive or something, right?
It's scary.
It's a maybe it will happen someday. Who knows?
Mhm.
Alberto, let me wrap it up with one last question, because you know it seems like a lot of people are fans of this show, and a lot of people love Greg Daniels. Tell me about working with him through this series.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely intimidating, right? Like the beginning, I was very intimidated. It's like Greg Daniels, you know. I was a fan also of The Office and Parks and Recreations, but like he is a lovely person. I cannot say how amazing he makes you feel welcome, and that your opinion matters, right? And then he's like, you know, he could have chosen whatever, like 1,000 directors different, and he chose you, and so he wants you to bring what you can bring to the table. Otherwise, he would have chosen only the director, right? Like, so at the same time, he knows what he wants, but he's also very open to see it from an other side, or like, let's try this, let's try that, and then it was truly a joy. Like I think it's probably one of my favorite experience so far of directing anything. He's like amazing. Yeah, it's more than I ever, you know, dream of. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm glad this was a dream come true for you, Alberto, and thank you very much for speaking to us about you know, your experience on directing an episode for Upload, and it's a very good one. I love
Oh, thank
I love the spy versus spy,
you.
you know, aspect of it, because I was like going, what's going to happen next? Who knows? But thank you very much for talking to us.
Oh no, thank you, Gagan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you, Gig.
Thank you.